Welcome back. Here we go. What we're working on right now is we got to get this conveyor pulled out. It's not all the way out, and it wouldn't push itself out back when we had the machine running. So right now we're trying something different. We'll hook a chain to it and then pull it. See if we can, slide this out all the way. Then we can see what we need to work on in there. So put some new chains on it, or a new chain on this side. Get this fixed up. We worked on the feed wheel over there. Put the feed wheel on that yoke this morning, and we are just piddling, working on stuff. One little thing, look at the Ford just getting it. Wow, look at that. Oh, baby. Off to the races. Somebody's late for work. Anywho, I gotta hook this up. What? You don't like it? You don't like it. No likey. I think it's that right there. Yeah, it's stuck. It's a no-go. It should slide. It should slide right out. You can do that.
Chain it into place, and then we can use the loader and extend it out.
Okay. Let us see what happens. I think we're crooked up top too. We're crooked with that. It's a real fussy system. So we're used to it in the woods, but we don't have the loader available. So we're kind of doing other stuff.
Is it coming out?
No.
You mean a lift up?
Turn this way just a little bit. Nothing.
You want me to go in or go up?
Go in a little bit. Try to pull out a little, pull up a little bit. What do you think? You want to go all the way up with it?
What are my forks doing?
You got what? There's a bar there that you're under.
Is that mine?
I think so. I don't know. It won't go down or up. The thing is in a bind. You want the pins in the holders or?
I don't know what.
Just bring her down.
Let it down or
Back up and bring it down. We got it. She just let loose. Our pinholes are lined up. See how good of an operator Brian is. Once that hole line up right there, yeah, looky there. Looks a lot better. That's got to be pushed out. There's a bad thing there. We can push that out. We're back. The conveyor's looking better. We're still working on that, but Brian's on the phone right now, so I figured I'd make myself useful. We had a predicament this morning putting this feed wheel in here, and it fought us. And I put the bearing in that side, and it went together like butter. Everything went great. Everything was wonderful. Then we get to this side, and it wasn't fitting right, wasn't jiving right. And me and Brian have been doing this for a long time, and it was just a complete, utter brain fart. Real bad. So, needless to say, the feed wheel won't turn, so we're trying to figure out why it won't turn, yada, yada, yada. And we couldn't figure it out after we got it up in there, it wouldn't fit, and then we went to work on the conveyor because this just got us frustrated right early this morning. Then we come back to it just after lunch, and Brian's like, I tried to get it, and something's catching in there, and I got to figure it out. So we figured out what was catching, and it's this piece of steel right here that goes down in there. It's catching on the teeth. Well, if you see those two holes right there, you automatically know what the problem is. So I finally yelled. I'm like, dude, we got it in there backwards. So Brian's like, why didn't we figure that out? Sprocket goes on that side because you got the two holes for your chain. And the motor goes over there, and the two chain holes are right there for the chain to go through to run your feed wheel. And we just put it in here like that, like complete goofball. So, like I said, Brian's making a phone call, so I said I'll start tearing this apart while I got a second and spin it around, because the way it is now it ain't gonna work. So once we get it in there right, it's gonna work. But the bummer was it went together so nice. You know how that goes, like everything bolted together perfectly on this side. I was like, man, like 2 minutes, and then it's backwards. So now I gotta tear it all apart, start over, flip it around, and it should go in there real nice. The problem is Brian was he started torching that out already. He's like, why did I do that? I should have known better than torch that out, because that's supposed to cover the chain. So there should be a sprocket over here, but there's not. So that's utter brain fart. One funny, interesting thing is there are grease certs right here. So it's got the two here that don't ever get used, and then it's got the one coming out the side. That's where you'll actually grease this at on the chipper. So those are inside the chipper. This has a guard over it, so you take the guard off and just grease it right there. But, so I got to tear this all apart, and it is a Monday for sure. I was waiting for it to catch on fire. I had the water ready, don't worry.
No, I was just like,
We're all done for the day. I had to do a little run, and we got back. So what we did was the conveyor wasn't sitting right, and it's because it didn't have these rollers in here. And how these rollers work is this. they slide down this channel because this cylinder here pushes this, extends this telescoping conveyor out, which is actually a really good design. But the problem was those were both broke. So we fixed both of those. Now the conveyor's sitting up a lot better. So the problem that we're dealing with now is we have, that's like a, you stick your hand in there and we're trying to figure out, this is tweaked a little bit, but this has been a little bit. So, you know, I mean, obviously I can kind of tell you what happened. My theory is, with this bolted on here, normally it's going to stick out here and then not right on your chain. So the option is just to hit this with a skidder or something and bend it in so that your chain rides on it right, which is not really the best way to do it. So we need to figure out the best option for it, but we didn't want to do anything until we got the hydraulics hooked up on this machine so that we could push it in and out and figure out exactly where it likes to ride, because if these are off just a little bit, they get real tricky. So, and it's actually not sitting up in the right slot right now yet. I don't know if you can see, this right here is supposed to, that's supposed to kick out. So it's not perfect yet. And the same thing over here. So that's got to sit right. But we at least got the rollers in there, so now it's looking like it's really nice. It's sitting up like it should. I mean, it's missing a chain. Oh, even blurry. So we put them on there instead of the metal ones, because the metal ones were eating up our hoses already. So we not happy about that. So we fixed those, but it needs the chain on the other side. So we're gonna try to get some new chain, a little heavier duty, and be done with it. No jamming. So the conveyor was a big thing that we at least got it set it up, and what we need is that's got it. There's like a 3-inch, maybe 4 inches in between the bar and the pan, and therefore when this bark comes off from here, it's all going to fall down into here because of that lip right there. See, if there's a gap in there, it's not going to go. It's going to try to go underneath, and when it goes underneath, it falls out of right here. So once it falls out of there, then you build a big pile of crap right here. So that's going to get fixed. But again, we want this thing to go in, and we want to get this working so that we can actually see how it wants to ride. When you put some washers in on either side, you don't tighten these up. That's the trick. If you tighten these up, it just snaps the bolt off, because it's got to have a little room to wiggle. You know what I mean? That new one, they can get real fussy, but if you get them tuned in, they're actually really good. So that's kind of the issue that we work with on this today. So when we got the feed wheel put in the right way, and yeah, that was me and Brian had a serious brain fart this morning. But when we actually set this out the first time, the cylinder was all smashed up against this, and Brian said we got to cut that out, and I says, you know, let's get a roller set in there, because you can see where she was hitting in there, and so we got the rollers in there. The cylinder was all bent too, which is usually bent because it's so long. But everything straightened out once we got the rollers put in there. So we'll have this thing tuned in. It's just going to take us time. So, and I made new hoses for the cylinder. That's what those are. I need to put them on tomorrow maybe. Before I forget, put them new hoses on there and be done with it. You know, I have a tendency to forget stuff. So I didn't mark those where they went. So people are going to be like, where do these go? And then they get lost in translation. And then they get hooked up the wrong way, and then your valve over there is working backwards, and then you got to swap stuff. So I just need to do it, but nope, we got some stuff done today. Every day we're making gains. I was hoping to have both feed wheels completely done, but they're not. They're like this close. So you got to just keep rolling, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. Who knows what's going on tomorrow? I think I got to do some running. Need to go in the shop because I got some parts. But we'll be slashing here in a couple of days with the old Barco. Fun. And who knows what all will be going on. But we got, we're talking. I don't want to tell you guys things because Mike will watch the video and then we've discussed stuff without Mike knowing it about this chipper. And I got to talk to Mike and we'll see what happens. But it's one of those things where it's old school, new school. Like, you know, we'll see if Mike wants to jump on board, or he might say there ain't no way. But if something happens, it's going to be epic. Anyways, involving this chipper, of course, because the old girl's just so pretty. And yeah, I need to break the ice to Mike. What if we did this? And he's either going to say one of two things.